There's some truly unique works of art on display this weekend. During a no question asked gun buyback last year, 115 guns were safely collected and dismantled, and now they have been turned into art.
Community leaders and Children's Minnesota have partnered up with the organization Art is My Weapon to showcase these special pieces of work. This is an exhibit. It's called Beauty from Ashes, and we are happy today to be joined by the executive director of Art is My Weapon, Nikki McComb, and Deseria Galloway, who is with the Wellspring Second Chance Center. Thank you both so much for coming in to talk about this today.
Thank you.
Yes. So why don't we start with you, Deseria? Talk about the gun buyback program, because that is one of the things that your center had organized.
Yes. It is my idea to think that when we are dealing with such staggering numbers of violence, of gun violence, it is an issue that is really in the fabric of Minnesota, which that we don't want to be known for that. You know what I mean? And the lives that it's touching is enormous.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was recently at an event, and I asked how many people in the room had been impacted by gun violence. Every hand in the room went up. So when we have this as a concern, it has now become a public health issue, right? And you got doctors who are now being impacted. They're struggling with PTSD as a result, because they're seeing these bodies coming in, young bodies, sometimes they're children, youth, that are accidentally impacted by the gun violence, right? And so I think it is important for us to realize that it is our human right to be able to walk outside, stay in your house, go shopping, go to school, go to work, and not have to feel unsafe, right? So the gun violence that we're seeing, it has impacted all of those areas, right? Even the workplace. The bullet went through my workplace.
Wow.
Right? And so the gun buyback with myself and Priscilla Brown, we just felt, again, the need to get some of the guns off the street, right?
Right.
Nikki,
and then what to do with them?
I was going to say, so then what do you do with those? How did this come out? How did you get involved with this, Nikki?
Well, so Deseria, I always say it wrong, Deseria, contacted me and said, hey, I want to do A, B, C, and D. And I said, let's do it.
Right.
As simple as that.
I said, because my organization was designed to give decommissioned weapons to artists. So she had heard about the work that I had done in the past and wanted to do the gun buyback. And so we just partnered together, and I already had the artists, I had the organization. And so I got the parts and I passed them out to artists, and they created some amazing, incredible works of art that you would never even imagine came from a weapon.
And I think it's important to once again name your organization Art is My Weapon, because I think it's a powerful title there. But do we have, I think we have at least Nikki's piece of art there. Nikki, you're a painter by trade, so there it is right there. I'm wondering how, this is a completely different medium for you.
Yeah, so I started with my medium and then sat on it for days and days and days. And you know, I have a basement full of gun parts. The artists come, they pick up their parts, hundreds. I mean, in the 300-400s, those weapons broke down into 500 some pieces.
Just individual parts. All
Correct.
spread. Okay.
So I just sat in there. I just sat there and for a couple hours and looked and picked the ones that visually looked cool to me. Not to say a gun is cool, but I could make them into something
new,
different, right?
Yeah.
And so that's I just worked the process and figured it out, and then a light bulb went off and was like, oh, do this.
Yeah.
So I did it, and it'll be on display on Saturday.
Right.
That's incredible when you think about that process, turning something that can be so negative
Absolutely.
into something that can be so positive and spreading that message. That's powerful.
And that's where beauty from ashes comes from, right? You know, look at the silver lining that comes out of this, right? Take this and do something with it. I think it is everyone's responsibility. We can no longer sit on the sidelines and not do anything. So we have come up with innovative and creative ways to raise awareness around gun violence. Right? And that is really at the core of this, right? All the agencies that participated in collecting those, the 3 hospitals, Children's Minnesota and Hennepin Healthcare and Alina.
YWCA.
And YMC, the WCA, all the organizations, Next Step, and the organizations that came together, the Rotary. You have a collective, collaboration of organizations and individuals that saw the need to do something. And the gun buyback, and now coming into the art, changing it to Beauty from Ashes for the art. That's what this is all about, right? Raising awareness is going to have to continue. We all have to do our part.
Beauty from Ashes, it exhibits, it's on Saturday. Can you give us the details? Where is it going to be? Can anybody show up? Do you need tickets?
It's public.
Okay.
You do not need tickets. It's at 9 Mile Gallery in Edina, 777 Washington.
Yes.
Okay.
There's going to be beautiful artwork. There's going to be wonderful food, things on display for folks to come and see. Some resources available from some of the funders, and then there will be some. This project was only possible through Hennepin County,
Oh, yes.
and Antonio Smith, who is the violence prevention manager of Safer Communities, and so some of those folks will be there to see what we've done together.
And how many, you said 29 artists?
There's 29 artists, I believe 37 pieces of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
For anyone who is going to go to this exhibit, what do you want them to take away from it, one? And then number two, if they do take something away from it, how can they get involved and create change themselves?
It's always opportunities, right? Volunteer at one of the community agencies that's going to be there, because all the agencies will be there that was a part of the gun buyback initially, right? So there are things that you can do through politics, lobbying to get gun rights and all of that kind of stuff, and policies changed, right? Because I think there's some flaws and some gaps in our gun laws, right? I think that mental health is at the top of that. After the George Floyd thing, I think people are walking around broken. And trauma, we carry trauma in our bodies. And when it gets triggered, and it can get triggered at any time.
The smallest thing.
The smallest little thing can trigger somebody who has not addressed and suppressed all of those kind of emotions, right? And so it comes out, unfortunately, wrong, and unexpectedly, and then you have a problem, right? And so I think one of the things that we have to kind of put funding in is in prevention, raising awareness and putting prevention funding out there. Starting with the youth, teaching our youth that guns are not nothing to play with. Guns, this is a society that loves guns. We have too many guns, period, in the United States. But the problem with it is that our young people, it's glamorized on TV, right? It's glamorized with some of our singers and performers, And so we have to look at all of that, address all of those levels. Everybody can get involved. Anybody can get involved in gun prevention, right? Reducing gun violence, right? Ask the questions. There's many organizations that will be there on Saturday, right? How can I get involved? Volunteer, donate to the agencies like Art is Our Weapon. You know what I mean? We do the First Time Gun Offender Program. Those are the programs that you want to put funding in. And then, of course, mental health.
Right.
Let's get the people the help that they need so they're not out there hurt people, right? And so the brokenness needs to be addressed. The hurt needs to be addressed. And let's get our society in Minnesota specifically, let's get to a place of health and wellness, right? And place of safety. It is our human right to feel safe. And that has been taken away from us.
This is the journey to heal them.
It is. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, all right. Deseria, Nikki, thank you both so much for coming in today, sharing this message, sharing this art with us. As we said, again, showcase happening. It'll be tomorrow. It's at the 9 Mile Gallery in Edina. It goes from 3 to 6 p.m. And of course, as they mentioned, so much beautiful art there. It's going to be open to the public.